Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. We appreciate your viewership. Let's get started with our weather, brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning. Drew Pollard and hard-working crew taking care of our everyday comfort needs. High today, 88. Low only going down to 79. That's pretty high low. Our water temperature at the end of the pier, we talked about it yesterday, 84 degrees. That's the hottest it's been all year, and it's looking strong there. River readings brought to us by the good folks at Panama City Coca-Cola. The Apalachicola at Bluntstown is reading an even 8 foot. And somebody was telling me yesterday there's a lot of water in Lake Seminole, so they really haven't opened up the dam full blast yet. Choctaw Carabelle, 5.8. And we're getting these summer pattern thunderstorms, so be aware of that. They're going to come and go. Just don't get caught in any kind of lightning at all. Tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Neap tides today, some neap tides tomorrow, a little bit of tide this weekend, but man, next week looks strong. So go ahead and start planning your trips according to the tide chart. Our wind direction coming south-southwest at 10 to 20 degrees. And our water temperature at the end of the pier is always brought to us by Alco Electric out of Lynn Haven. We've got a special guest here in the studio, so let's take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, and welcome to our guest. Been on before, a fellow fisherman, a fellow faithful man of faith, and Reverend Steve Taylor. But I called him the fishing preacher man or the preaching fisher man. One of my former students from way back, and he turned out pretty good now. Tell us how you got started in all this. We're going to talk about fishing in a minute, but give folks a little bit of your background.
I'm a Bay County guy.
Yeah.
Born and raised. We went to all the local schools. Mosley. Did 2 years at Sandsburg Tech or Gulf Coast, now State College. Went away to West Florida. Mm-hmm. Did my master's in divinity at Southwestern Seminary out in Fort Worth, Texas. And then pastored for almost 8 years in Jacksonville before moving back to Panama City in 2007. Mm-hmm. So it's been almost 18 years now that I've been home.
I remember when he moved back. I said, I remember hearing about it. Steve moved back to town. I said, I'm glad that boy come back home. Back here at Emerald Coast Fellowship.
Yes, sir. I'm the pastor at Emerald Coast Fellowship. Good things happening there. We've recovered since the hurricane. We just built a student building that will open up officially with a grand opening August 13th. Looking forward to that. And
that'll be great.
Yeah.
Right there on 390. I know you passed it way back. It was Cook Memorial Baptist, and then it sort of morphed and grew. And I know a lot of folks there, and a lot of good folks there.
Absolutely. We've been blessed.
And you that new building going up for the youth, though, like you said, that's going to be really nice.
It's the old, those that remember the original sanctuary, that blew down there in the hurricane. They carried it off in dump trucks, and we went through COVID and tried to figure out, what's our next step. And we're still all about teenagers, and so it's going to be a state-of-the-art student center. We're looking forward to it.
That's great. And we'll have to get some kind of outdoor ed program in there too on Sunday afternoon.
We have had a lot of outdoor ed students come through those doors.
See, they can help teach it to the younger kids and all.
Absolutely.
You've always loved fishing. I know you've always enjoyed outdoors. That's always been like I've known you since you were in school, and I know you've always enjoyed it.
I have. I love the water in general. I love everything about the water in Bay County. Bass fishing is what I learned from my dad. Mm-hmm. My dad grew up in Columbus, Georgia, and so he fished the Chattahoochee River system quite a bit, Lake Oliver in particular, and I'd fish with my granddad up there catching catfish and shellcracker.
Oh, cool. What a great background. And then you just kept doing it.
I never stopped doing it. It's become, over the years, it's become a thing. People give me a hard time sometimes because I fish by myself quite a bit, but I do that because it's a great place to go and collect your thoughts and write yourself and be ready for another room full of people.
I know most of us don't realize the pressure these pastors throughout the country and all that they would think they got to ease. All they got to do is just get up there, read a scripture out of the Bible, and just run their mouth. But these guys put in, these pastors and all throughout our country, it's amazing the amount of time they put in counseling and studying the Word. I know you probably don't talk about it. You don't put a lot of time.
I put a lot of time in the study side of it, and I think for me in particular, I love walking with people through hard things.
Yeah.
And I know you and I were talking a little bit off air about some of the things families in Bay County face, and there's some hard stuff. So.
At this point in time in American history, I've said this before, it's some of the most challenging times I think our country has ever seen, especially for young people who I've always been around my whole life, young people, and I see the things that they're exposed to and they have to fight, and it's tough out there.
One of the things I like to encourage people, and I guess it'd be those of us that are getting older as well as the younger generations, like these are tough times. But I believe we serve a God that created us to be in the time we're in. Like, of all the people that have ever lived, Coach Chester, you are one of a kind, right? And so is everybody that's watching.
Yeah.
And so it's not an accident that we're living in these tough times. And I guess that means God has a plan for us during these days.
I believe that. I really do, and all. And this is where the outdoors sort of fits into this.
Yes, sir.
Because like he does, he gets out there and he meditates, he's out there fishing, and a lot of y'all are the same way. We talk about this. You get outdoors, you get on a riverbank, you get in that boat, or you walk through the woods, and just a certain peace comes on you.
There is.
Right?
There is.
And it's just, I've always felt, sit in a tree stand sometime late in the afternoon.
Watching the world come alive and watching it kind of go to sleep at the end of the day. They're beautiful times to be reminded of God's creation, and He's ultimately in charge.
Yeah, and of course we preach in the choir. All these folks know exactly what we're talking about, but
that's why they love it.
I know it, and I tell people in this area, we couldn't do an outdoor TV show every day if we didn't live in the Florida Panhandle with the beauty we have around here, and we're so thankful for it. I know.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to take our break, and we'll come back with some pictures. This fishing trip that he went on his family vacation, you're going to be surprised what he's done. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Sitting here with the preaching fisherman or the fishing preacher man. So you took a listen. You had your family vacation. That's what sort of inspired me. He's been on the show before, and we stay in contact and all. But
yes, sir.
He just had a family vacation, and it was a cool one. So you want to go to Niagara Falls? Tell us the background.
Well, Christy and I've always wanted to go to Niagara Falls. The kids are at the age you don't know how many. You know, my daughter Allie's 25. My son's about to turn 20. You don't know how many more family vacations you're gonna get like that.
Yeah.
So. We decided to go to Niagara Falls. We flew up to Buffalo, New York, and ended up staying on the Canadian side. Little known fact, people talk a lot about things being, quote, better on the Canadian side at the falls.
Yeah.
What I learned is that it's better on the Canadian side because you're looking back at America the Beautiful, right?
Okay.
America looks better from the Canadian side.
Okay.
And so
that's a good point.
It is. It really is. They've got the falls are beautiful. I was telling you that, like, it's not the tallest falls around, but those falls that are taller than Niagara Falls typically have a lot less volume of water. 700,000 gallons per second coming across. Per second.
That's incredible.
It's the water depths below the falls are like 150, 200 feet. I mean, it's incredible.
That's in my top 10 on the bucket list, so we're going to go there one day. But y'all had a wonderful time.
We had a good time. We saw it from both sides, enjoyed it, some great food.
But your wife sort of set something up for you.
She did.
What happened on this?
Well, I think like most of us guys that don't live up north and haven't been up there much, I've always wanted to catch a smallmouth bass. Even so much like we take a trip to Pigeon Forge and I'm out behind the hotel trying to catch me a little bitty with a spinning rod, trying to catch me a little smallmouth. So she set me up on a Father's Day trip, half-day trip. My son he's not a huge fisherman, but he likes spending time with his dad, and he likes the water, likes being outdoors. And so for me, he said, hey, let's go. And so we did a 4-hour smallmouth trip on Lake Erie.
On Lake Erie.
On Lake Erie. We put in on the Upper Niagara Falls or Upper Niagara River, which is just upstream, obviously, of the lower, which is where the falls are at. And we went from there into Lake Erie, and we caught some smallmouth bass that were kind of in that pre-spawn phase.
Wow. So how okay, you've caught a lot of bass down here. I know you have.
I fair amount.
I know you have. So compare them real quick, the smallmouth to the largemouth. As far as
well, they jumped a lot. I can tell you that.
Okay.
They're known for fighting, pound for pound, and they did fight. We were using spinning rods.
Yeah.
With a 10-pound line and an 8-pound leader, and so the biggest that I caught was 4.5 pounds, and so that was a pretty good fight on that little rod.
Wow. Well, just to prove, they have to send us pictures to prove that these fishing stories, just because they say it don't mean it's true.
If there's no picture, it didn't happen. That's what Alan Thornton likes to say.
Okay, here we go. So we got some pictures here. So tell us about this one.
So they had the coldest. We got our rain gear on and we're dressed as warm as we could be, but that's the coldest May they've had in like 10 years.
Really?
And so the water temp was in the mid 50s still, and the actual air temp was in the high 50s. And so what we've got are these smallmouth bass. The coloration on them is amazing. In some of the background, like buffalo is actually pretty close to where we're at.
Okay.
I was telling you, those fish they're like little footballs. I mean, they're tanks.
Now, this is son here holding this one.
That's Austin holding one that's a couple of pounds.
Okay.
And
these are all different fish.
they're all different fish. I learned they've got a little white speck on their gill plate, and you can see a little bit of that one there. And and I say that because I showed the pictures to somebody, and they're like, "That's all the same fish." I'm like, "No, it's not." And what I've learned, I don't know what they call that speck on the gill plates. One of your viewers may know if they're from up north, but they were beautiful fish. We were literally, I have to tell you, we were live bait fishing. I'm not normally a live bait guy.
It's okay if you're on a guided trip. You can live. It's okay.
But he said, "You want to catch fish?" I said, "Yes, sir. I want to catch fish." And Austin's coming, so. They have these little minnows that they use, and we see the forward-facing sonar guys like talk about shaking a minnow.
Yeah.
These are those minnows, I think, because they're just really prevalent up there, and that's what we were using for bait.
So he just hooked them in the lip.
He hooked them on the lip. He was using a drop shot weight with about a 6-inch extension from it, and then about a 4-foot leader.
4-foot leader.
And with a really, really small hook. I was amazed. It looked like a brim hook, but it was a lot thicker. It was quality hook.
What's the depth of water? What were y'all doing?
We were fishing. These were spawners and pre-spawners, and so he had us drifting across flats. I kept expecting. I don't know if you've heard of Mark Zona. He's one of the big smallmouth guys from up there.
Right.
I kept expecting him to kind of pop in from someplace, but you could see the bottom in 8 to 10 feet of water, and we would just drift across these flats with the live bait, and they'd pick it up each time we'd make a drift.
Were they making sort of holes, like to fan them out, just like the bass here?
They were, and I didn't see fish on beds, but I did see the areas that they had fanned out, and the water is so clear there. I was looking at the bottom at 8 or 10 feet.
That's interesting. All right, we got to go. Okay, now.
Within the first 5 minutes, we doubled up.
Whoa!
And so and there's a couple of. I've got 2 pictures of us holding fit. We doubled up twice.
Wow!
Which was pretty special.
That's a great picture. Okay, that's another double up right there.
Yeah, that's another one.
Y'all not too far from shore.
We weren't. If you later in the season he does walleye trips, and later in the season the fish move more offshore. We were kind of blessed. Like if you get seasick, this is not a place where you have to worry about that this time of year because you're fishing so close to shore. But that Lake Erie's big water. I mean, it's. I feel like I was in the bay when we made the jaunt from Niagara River into the little backwater that we went to.
So this is backwater then.
Yep.
Okay, and here's your guide right. This is great.
That's Captain Ted Kessler.
Okay.
And I'll tell you something, and just go ahead and give a shout out to a couple of guys, Dean Jackson, and a friend of his named Whit, who are from Buffalo, New York. They moved down here to start the Old Glory pressure washing.
Okay.
Right? They're doing a great job locally, but they go to my church, and so I said, "Hey, do you know anybody that's a guide up there?" Because I wanted somebody that was reputable, and they knew Ted, great guy.
So isn't that amazing to contact? Small world, isn't it?
Yep.
I mean, who knows a guide on Lake Erie? I mean, how many of y'all know a guide on Lake
It worked out really well.
That is good. So he does 4-hour trips is what it is. A good
Well,
4-hour
a lot of them are 7-hour trips. I could only work out a 4-hour trip because we needed to get back to the family.
The vacation time.
I was trying to balance that out. You know, as a pastor, that's important. It's important in general, but
time management.
Yeah.
Really important.
Yep.
How many y'all end up catching? You ever kept count?
We caught 15.
15.
I kept count.
Oh, you kept.
I'm not going to say who caught more between me and Austin, but yeah.
Well, both y'all in front of the boat, or did he front?
No, I put him in the front.
Okay.
Yeah, he said who wants to get in the front, so I put Austin in the front.
That's a good dad.
I did, yeah. But you can't say he front boated me. I still hadn't told you who caught most, but it wasn't him.
Front boat me. Take our final break. I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a quick look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. Our time, 5:30 to 7:30 this morning, and 5:53 to 7:53. And Steve, I always ask my guests who are outdoors people like you, these fishing times, have you seen it in the fishing where you have to, a certain time, all of a sudden they just turn it on, and then later on they turn it off?
Yes.
You've seen that?
It does happen.
You know, we're talking about fishing in general. Before we get back to it, I want to show you this picture. Here's Steve and his family. Tell us, this is a great picture here, okay? So tell us.
So that's my wife, Christy, another local girl. She's a local girl too. Mm-hmm. And then my daughter, Allie, who is 25, and my son, Austin, who's about to turn 20.
Awesome. So that is a great family shot. I know being a pastor's family, they make sacrifices people don't realize, but I know they do. But
I've been blessed with a sweet family.
I've known them for a long time, and good folks, and we're just proud to have them in our community. So we're getting back to fishing. The rest of the summer, I know one of the most challenging lakes to fish in the Florida Panhandle is Deer Point Lake.
That's true.
That's come from not just my experience, but everybody says that. And you live on Deer Point, so you fish.
I do.
So you fish it.
Yes, sir.
So tell us about it.
Well, I can tell you, what you were mentioning earlier about certain times. It's better for me. It's better before a storm. When that barometric pressure is dropping, it's better when it's cloudy. Mm-hmm. I had a fellow neighbor that told me it's better right before the weather gets bad. You don't want to be out there when you're not supposed to be out there. You don't want to be unsafe, but there is something to be said about the time that the pressure's dropping.
I believe that wholeheartedly, because you do have pressure dropping. You have some sort of, the woods come alive and the water you can sort of feel it.
Fish get active.
Yeah. But otherwise, now if you don't fish Deer Point, where's some other places you like to go?
For me, because I keep my boat on the lake, it is a little bit bigger deal to get the boat on the trailer and go somewhere else. But I have aspirations of fishing the river some. Yeah. Apalachicola River in particular, Howard's Creek area.
Up and down the river, all kind of, that's a beautiful.
I love the lower Apalachicola. I mean, that's probably my favorite place to go because you can catch the redfish and the trout and like all of it. As well as you can catch the hybrid bass and you can catch the largemouth. So, flounder. Yeah. I saw you got a big flounder in here. You can catch flounder sometimes too.
It's crazy how much you can do. What's your go-to, some of your go-to lures in different places? What do you like to fish with?
Well, I fish a worm a lot. That's what I grew up fishing. Okay. My dad, that's what my dad always taught me. And so I like to fish a Texas rigged worm quite a bit. I'll fish a Senko a lot, flukes quite a bit. Topwaters are fun. Yeah. I can't always catch them on them. I know a lot of the old timers talk about the Banga lure, and it's a great lure, but I'm not as good with it as a lot of people are.
It's been old reliable, what that one has. When you go like I said, by yourself, and when you get out there, what's some of the things that go through your mind? You're thankful. I know you're always thankful.
I'm always thankful. I think and I've discussed this at different times, but for me, one of the reasons I love fishing is it's a new puzzle every day. Mm-hmm. And you're always going to see things. I remember seeing a black bear swimming across Apalachicola River one Thanksgiving. I was there a day or two before Thanksgiving, and it was right at sunset, and I'm riding down the river fast, and I almost had to turn around and do a double take. But you see deer swimming, lots of those. The nature's just beautiful.
And you saw a bear was swimming across?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been 10 years, but I hadn't forgotten it.
Wow, what a memory there. And the system changes. You got trees leaning one way one time and the leaves blowing one way.
For people that haven't been on the lower Apalachicola River, there are palm trees growing in the wild.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily normal. I mean, you go out on the beach, and some of those are not necessarily, quote, natural palm trees, right? They've been planted and they look good, but they grow natural out there in the river swamp. And it's the way God created it.
I know that's the beauty of that place, the lower system, and funny you talked about the palm trees because you do see those just growing out all in a swamp. Boom, there's a palm tree, and so it didn't get there by being planted.
No.
What about we got a couple minutes left now? Your goals for the rest of the summer and all? What do you want?
Fishing goals, I do want to get away to the river, and just relax and see what I can catch down there. But it's a tough time of year to be fishing Deer Point. Like honestly, the spring was better, and now as we get to the middle of the summer, it gets tougher, and then it'll get a little bit easier as we get into the fall. But church-wise, if you let me say that a little bit, we just brought on a new staff member. In a full-time middle school pastor to help us with that new student building. So he's going to be helping Doug, which is a big deal.
Yes.
25-year-old fellow with a wife and a 1-year-old from Pensacola.
Okay.
And then just this past Sunday, I announced that we are bringing on a local fellow as a full-time worship pastor starting second week in July. And his name is Jordan Christie. Some of your viewers may know him.
Okay.
He grew up at St. Andrew Baptist.
Okay,
and,
great.
So looking forward to having him come on. So that's going to keep us busy.
Steve, I'm just so proud of you, and I see the things y'all do and what you're talking about, the growth you're having, and the people you're reaching, and you and your staff and your church, and it's just these are things that we need, and I just from the bottom of my heart I appreciate it, and as a fellow believer, just thank you for doing this.
Coach, I appreciate you and all you do in our community, loving kids.
Well, we've all been blessed, but we have our challenges ahead of us, and we got it every day, one day at a time. Is what
I think the best is yet to come, don't you?
I do too. And thanks to people like you and your church.
Thank you, Coach.
I know you're gonna keep on fishing.
I plan to keep fishing and keep preaching.
And keep on preaching. I said, fishing preacher man, Steve Taylor. Thank you. Appreciate y'all watching the show. Y'all do something good for someone else today. Have a great day. Enjoy the outdoors, and let's take care of it. And God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.